Hello there. The UK Foreign Secretary and Brexiteer Boris Johnson has warned Brexit allies that a UK exit from the EU is still not a certainty. Boris Johnson has said that the establishment of Whitehall and the City will increase their efforts to keep the UK inside the EU in the coming months. His worries mirror those of Nigel Farage, who said that the Remain side was currently making all of the running and that Leavers must get themselves organised and ready for any rerun of the 2016 referendum that the establishment dared to throw at them. Boris is reported to have also confided with friends over his concerns that Theresa May will be worn down and eventually forced to accept a bad deal by Mandarins and Remain-leaning cabinet ministers during trade negotiations that start in March, reports The Sun. And it goes on to say that he is planning a major new speech pushing the case for a liberal Brexit to counter any backsliding. While today a procession of Remainers is settling down in Michel Barnier's office to, as they put it, find out more about the EU side in the talks. The Tory Brexit rebels Dominic Grieve and Anna Soubry, together with the Labour MPs Chuka Umunna and Chris Leslie, are meeting the EU Brexit negotiator as they have things to say about the process, said an EU Commission spokesperson. I wonder if that will be about reversing the process. Anyway, although the EU Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier has set a Brexit transition deadline of the 31st of December 2020 as it fits the EU budget period, it turns out that the EU Commission has not ruled out extending the transition beyond that. Ambassadors from a number of EU countries raised the possibility of a longer transition at a meeting in Brussels on Wednesday, according to 4 diplomats, said Politico last week. And it went on to say that at Wednesday's meeting, some member countries asked whether the possibility of an extension should be included in the text of the guidelines, but the Commission said this would send the wrong message. Now that request obviously did not come from the UK side, so that means that some of the EU states are getting a bit jittery and want to keep the UK in the fold for as long as possible. But the one thing they all do want is for the UK to abide with all of the rules during that period and keep paying in, just for the benefit of extending the transition period for their benefit, not for ours. And now the SNP is engaged in scaremongering by claiming that leaving the EU will cost the Scottish economy up to £16 billion, when compared to the UK either staying in the EU or at least the Single Market and Customs Union. A Scottish Government analysis claims that potential Brexit scenarios of EEA membership, a Canada-style agreement or WTO rules would all hit the Scottish economy. The SNP leader, Nicola Sturgeon, said that staying in the single market was absolutely, manifestly, beyond any doubt the option which will do the least damage to our economy. And she also said that Jeremy Corbyn's position of not supporting single market membership was a ridiculous position for him to take, as she claimed the position of Norway showed that you can be outside the EU but still in the single market. Of course, we all know that staying in the single market means staying under the jurisdiction of the ECJ, which in turn means the UK has not left the European Union. Then you have to remember that everything the SNP says or does is with its eyes set firmly on breaking away from the UK, but then handing Scotland over lock, stock and barrel to the European Union. Therefore, anything the SNP leader says will have that foremost goal in mind. One would surmise that for her, the best route from UK control to EU control is with the UK in the single market at least. I wonder how much she would be prepared for the people of Scotland to pay to leave the UK. How would they deal with the UK Supreme Court having jurisdiction over citizens from the rest of the UK living in Scotland if they did break away? And how would they manage the resultant border between the EU and the rest of the UK? But I digress. But as she does not have the support of either the Tories or the leader of the Labour Party, then her calls for the UK to stay in the single market will probably remain in the minority. On top of that are the results of a NatSen survey called "Just 15 Months to Go, What Scotland is Making of Brexit," which shows that at the end of the day, on both the question of immigration and trade, the Scots people want the rules to be exactly the same for them as for the rest of the UK. An article in today's FT says that in a recent poll, the majority of UK mid-sized companies want to leave the single market and customs union, with only 22% wanting a Norway-style option where the UK would have to pay a fee and accept all EU regulations. The YouGov poll conducted for the accountancy firm RSM also found these firms believe that Brexit will be bad for the UK economy in the short term, up to about 2 years, but would have little impact when looking over 5 years and more. The French President Emmanuel Macron is now trying to pressurise the UK into taking more unaccompanied child migrants from the Calais camp, as well as paying more towards the policing of the port area, by adding to the Touquet Accord signed in 2003. The French Interior Minister told La Parisienne, "I hope to succeed in getting an additional element to these agreements, and concrete measures regarding the covering of a certain number of costs by the British, as well as the receiving of a greater number of people, in terms of refugees and non-accompanied minors." Now, the last time we did this, 2/3 of the child refugees who had their ages assessed were found to be over 18 according to a Home Office report, with the Independent reporting in October 2016. The Home Office statistics revealed that between January 2006 and June 2016, 45% of 11,847 applicants whose ages were checked were not children. Then there's the question of how unaccompanied children managed to get as far as Calais in the first place. Also, the UK should not be shouldering the blame and expense for the failure of the EU and Schengen border systems, and any weakening of resolve of this could result in a virtually free ferry and train service for all from the Southern Med right across the EU and into the UK, with many people traffickers in Africa benefiting enormously in the process. What do you think? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.